So hello, Pin Xiu and Mark. Congratulations on the success and thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Hi, Saz. Thank you very, very much.
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure.
Pin Xiu, let's start with how the sleep was after winning that 50-meter backstroke goal. Could you even sleep at all?
I think I was just telling Mark that I can finally breathe now, but and then have a good night's sleep, because the past few nights have been I've been sleeping well the past few nights, but the night before was a bit tougher. So last night it was to this point of exhaustion where it's just really, really hard to fall asleep. I wasn't extra excited or anything, so I think I fell asleep at almost 2 o'clock, but I really slept in today and I woke up at I got out of my room at 11.
Hey, that's a fine reward, man, for winning goals.
Yes.
So every win, every victory, every race is different because and every Paralympics is different because you're a different person, you're a different athlete, and the challenges keep changing over time. So in what way were these 2 gold medals special to you?
This cycle in Tokyo has been a very strange cycle, I would say. So Mark, myself, and the team, we really had to do a lot of adaptations. We couldn't really stick to our usual way of going on training camps, competitions, and improving faster. So we really had to adapt and use many different tests, methods, time trials in Singapore to try and still get the momentum going. So this is a 5-year cycle. It seems like it's a really long time, but honestly, time really, really has just flown by.
How did you feel before arriving in Tokyo and I guess in the lead up to each race? Did you feel like you feel like you were in peak form, as a good a physical condition you could be mentally as well? Or like you said, it has been a very challenging past 2 years. Where was your headspace like?
It has been a very challenging 2 years, and honestly, coming in, Mark has seen everything. I was confident in the sense that I knew that we've done everything that we could. So I was as ready as I felt, but at the same time, I would also tell him, if only we had 1 more month, if only we had more time. And I'm sure at least half of the people here feel this way. The other half, they're probably raring to go. Yeah. So coming in, I was we had a local training camp. And then I went home for a couple of days, 3 to 4 days. But on the days where I was home, I was very nervous, a bit anxious, pre-trip anxiety after not having traveled for so long. Packing my luggage felt weird. Yeah, and Mark, just feel free to chime in anytime, and you really experienced the whole thing.
Yeah, this for Mark as well, because you were with her throughout that lead up towards Tokyo. How was it like, wearing your coach's hat? How was it like, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think it was extremely challenging. I think I spoke to, when I first started with I spoke to different coaches as well as the sports and science team at SSI as well as SDSC, and really the factors that led to success in 2016. You can take those plans and just throw it out the window, because we didn't have the meets, we didn't have the training camps that really lead to success for an athlete like Pin Xiu. So we really went back to the drawing board. COVID-19, especially during the circuit breaker, right? Circuit breaker 1 that we all remember, we were on constant Zoom calls, ensuring that she's keeping up with her exercises. We brought in machines, we made sure that she's doing the exercises. We talked to her. We had weekly fireside chats as well to talk about how we're going to tackle this as we go into phase 2 or phase 3. And thankfully she came through circuit breaker okay, fine. She didn't lose a lot of muscle mass. Her cardiovascular system and aerobic capacity was still there. Kind of, all right, but it was a good starting point, you know. And then leading up to the campaign in 2021, we didn't have opportunity to race at the international level, right? And for coaches, we take every one of these competitions, maybe every month, right, as a pit stop, as a stop check to see where we are, where the deficits are. We break down the different races from the first 25 to the last 25, understanding how we can get her that much faster, that much sharper for the 2021 Paralympic Games. We didn't have any of that. And of course, we also at these major meets like the World Championships, we take stock of who the competition is. So this time, especially yesterday, we had this young Japanese girl, and she's fast. We saw her in the first 50 in the 100, and we have no idea what she's gonna do in the 50, right? But no, we have to just trust what we have done, and thank goodness that we have the great support from SSI as well as STSC to give us those opportunities to do what we can within the confines of the restrictions and regulations in Singapore to get our athlete, our champion Pin Xiu, to the best that she could do in Tokyo.
All that makes the wins even more remarkable. Pin Xiu, can you talk us through a little bit through your swims and how you felt when you touched the wall in each race or in each final, knowing you had won? Mark mentioned, the Japanese girl was at the back of your minds.
Okay, so I actually do want to continue a bit with what Mark said earlier on. It's really like when he mentioned, okay, I wasn't even thinking of like circuit breaker because that felt like such a long time ago. But when he really put it into perspective, and we've been working hard since like way before that, it really just felt like there hasn't been any breaks at all for this entire 5 years. So normally sometimes after major games, I take a 1-2 weeks break, but this entire time there hasn't been any major games. So pretty much no breaks at all. So like it's really been the past 5 years of working really, really, really hard to get to where we are today. And circuit breaker, I remember everybody was so concerned at that point in time. Every single day there will be people asking me, "Hi, are you okay? How are you feeling? What are you doing today?" And like I was still motivated because I knew that there wasn't a choice. Everybody had to go through circuit breaker. Like we had to do this together as a country, and everybody really had to play their part in this. So there was no exception. So we did whatever we could to try to maintain my fitness. And then after that, the months later, it was a bit demoralizing because it took a bit longer to get back to where I was. But I think the team, myself, Mark, we always had the goal that is to go to the Paralympics, to do well there. So in some way, I was always motivated as well. Yeah, so to talk you through the race, yesterday's 50 meter was nerve-wracking.
I have full confidence, okay, PX.
I had a call with Mark before I got off the bus, right as I was getting off the bus, and then I was like telling him all my concerns, and he really had full confidence. I don't know where that confidence comes from, but he had it. And like if I were to talk you through the race, sometimes when I dip my head a bit further into the water because of my backstroke technique, I can see what's going on the sides. So for the 100 meters, I couldn't see her at all. So last week I didn't see her, but for 50 meters, she was right there. And I remember maybe at the 15-meter mark, she was ahead of me. But I knew that I think these games, my experience has really, really helped me a lot. The experience of swimming with people faster than me. And I remember one time in 2013, I was in the World Championships. I swam with somebody a bit faster than me in my class. And at the last 5 meters, like somehow mentally, I couldn't hold it anymore. So it was really reminding myself this time round to also hold it, even when I see people faster than me, to really just hold it in, hold it there. 50 meters is seemingly very short. Felt like the longest time. But so at 50 meters, I saw her. And then I knew that I needed to increase my stroke rates. I needed to go faster and to be more efficient. And then the second time when I saw her, she was still faster than me. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go even faster. Then I think in the last 15, when I like popped down again, then I was like, okay, I got this, I need to hold it. I'm just like really touching the end. And then when I touched the wall and I saw, I was overjoyed. Yeah.
So one of the things you and I have actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago is, why the Paralympics are important, right? I mean, and you've been to 4 now. Why the Paralympics are important and why people should watch them. So I want to ask you that again. A big question, I know.
Maybe you should ask Mark that, because from somebody who's not had any experience at the Paralympics to taking a para swimmer a couple of years back and then now. So maybe as somebody who is a convert, he should answer this first.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, Mark, go for it. Yeah.
Thanks, PX. I think this feeling is not only just shared by me, right, but by most people who have been following the Paralympic scene through Tokyo 2021, where we are all very inspired by what these athletes have shown, and really the games like the Olympics, faster, stronger, higher, together. Those values and the Olympic motto goes together with the Paralympics. Because let's not forget that the Paralympics are the parallel Olympics, right? It's not paraplegic, They're supposed to go together in tandem, giving these athletes an opportunity, a platform to showcase to the world what they're capable of doing. It's about inclusiveness even more so than what the Olympics tries to do through universality. And through this experience, and I'm very privileged to have this experience working with PX. I've seen this. I've been given a front row seat to experience this, and I'm very happy to be a convert, so to speak. So please, PX, continue what I have missed out.
Yeah, being here is I think it really reminds me again that people may look different, things may seem different, but after all, we're not so different. When you chase for excellence, when you care for yourself, you care for your mind, you care for your body, in the pursuit of excellence, at the end of the day, we're not so different. And I think it's really a show of what can be done if you set your mind to it.
I think one of the things you had told me is that people, they don't understand something unless they see it. And that's why one of the great things about watching the Paralympics is only if you see it, do you learn to also look beyond disability to see what the athletes do.
Yeah, exactly. They think that in the Paralympics, it's not so competitive, it's just participatory and things like that. But if you really see it, you see the emotions, you see the hard work that people put in, and really at the end of the day, people are just they're chasing for improvement, they're chasing to be better than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. And it's really the kind of spirit and the kind of resilience that I think that people can adapt to in the recent times. Yeah.
Yip Pin Xiu, you've been in elite parasport for over a decade, and that longevity itself is already something special in itself. Can you tell us some of the ways the local scene has grown, and what areas they can be improved upon still? Mark, feel free to chime in as well after Pin Xiu.
Yeah. When I first started out in 2004, there really wasn't a lot of awareness with regards to parasports in Singapore at all. There were local competitions, which were only like you will only know of them if you were in like an association which would join the competition. But really, to the general public, it wasn't really known. I did see Teresa in the paper once before I started swimming competitively. So I knew that it was possible, but also I didn't know where to start and things like that. But over the years, I think the Paralympic movement has really grown across the entire world, in Singapore as well. especially every time after a win, and the media reports it, people celebrate the win, and that's how I think it grows and grows bigger. And this year, I think it's really been phenomenal. In the gloom of the pandemic, you hear not so happy news every single day. I think this has really been a silver lining. And to see so many people celebrate it back home in Singapore, I was crying at the first time I was on the podium. And so many people reached out to me and said that they cried along with me and things like that. It really, really touched my heart. So, so I think that the movement has really grown. People recognize us now. Sports Singapore, MCCY, has always been very supportive. And of course, the SDSC, SNPC has played their part in really growing the movement in Singapore. So I think what we, other than the government, I think also maybe people themselves can play a part in growing this movement, right? It's spreading the word, celebrating the wins, and then things like that. And at the end of the day, I think it's just amazing because we are just one big entire Singapore, and I'm so proud to call Singapore my home.
Mark, anything to add?
Yeah, you know, I'm a newbie, right, to this, and
oh wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not done. I thought of this.
Sure.
Also, like the difference is that now there are more clubs accepting like people with disabilities. So there is a place where we can actually start, and more coaches are getting involved, and a place where we can grow, be it in development or high performance. And I think this base of athletes, this base of coaches, it's extremely important to have, not just in swimming, but across all sports. Because if only infrastructure like this is present, then the movement can grow more in Singapore. Yes, sorry.
That's very good, Pin Xiu, because that was exactly what I was gonna say. You know, I'm newbie to this, and really a gap that I see is the accessibility of such training facility infrastructure as well as capabilities, right, to help, you know, physically, visually, and intellectually disabled people in our community. And I would like to see more people like Pin Xiu, you know, step up, be inspired by what our para-athletes have done at Tokyo 2020, and maybe campaign for 2028. Because, you know, I think Singapore is primed to do something like this as we progress as a society, and we give opportunities to all our people. I think this is really part of the maturation of Singapore, and I'm very happy to see that Pin Xiu is leading the charge on some of this. And maybe she can elaborate a little bit more about what this is. But yeah, you know, the accessibility and the acceptance of people and giving them the opportunity, right, is key to seeing this sector grow.
So one of the stories told, I was talking to lots of friends of yours last week, all athletes, as you know. And so Stephanie Jen was telling me, the kayaker, that it's she's going to charge you for taking photographs, because every time they go out with you, people want to take photographs with you, and they are the ones who have to click the photograph. So, so I have a two-part question. The first thing is this thing about people stopping you to take photographs with you. Has this grown over the years? Number one.
I think Singaporeans are a very shy bunch. So sometimes they ask for photos, sometimes they just whisper and point. But I think it's been pretty consistent since maybe 2016, and then things like that. It's nice.
Any sort of moment that remains with you, that something really meaningful, either some just stranger in the public, somebody said something to you which has stayed with you for a long time?
I don't think there is one, but honestly, everybody that has given me a word of support, a message of encouragement, like I really, really am so grateful for these kind of people. Even like the recognition that I get, it's at the end of the day, it's phenomenal that I never imagined myself in this position when I was younger. So to be here today and really getting all of this support has been fantastic.
Talking about public sentiment and reaction to, your wins, with your wins in Tokyo, the call for equality with, the Olympics in terms of cash rewards, when their success has again arisen. You've mentioned this before, but, what do you feel, every time, especially, today when social media is so big, you see people calling, making the call again. What's your take on this? And Mark, again, feel free to chime in after Pin Xiu,
It's very hard for me personally to answer this question because at the end of the day, I do gain from it. There's a huge conflict of interest there. So like I've said before, I do this not for the money, but at the same time, there is also the disparity is very big, and it does go to show that like it is not equal. At the end of the day, there is a certain inequality there, regardless of what reasons there are. So that's why it's been really hard for me to answer this kind of question. But recently, I saw one of my swimming friends from Australia on her Instagram crying. And then I was so interested to know what happened. But turns out that Australia has just awarded Olympians and Paralympic medalists the same equal award money. Yeah,
Wow.
So yeah, but I think for us it's more complicated than that because we do get support from the government, like Sports SG, MCCY on this journey. And at the end of the day, the rewards they are just, I don't know what to say, but it's not yeah, I don't think that we can continue blaming the government and say that it's unequal because it's really not them. It's maybe I don't know who else is involved and things like that. Yeah, but I think a message to show that people with disabilities, Paralympians, Olympians are equal would be a great start of equality. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean I also sit on various bodies, right? And I guess this is like, I sit on SNOC. But I think the SNOC is able to do this because they're able to raise money, right? And I think this is something that SMPC needs to do. The general public needs to come in as well, support our athletes, right? If you believe that the para athletes should be rewarded the same, please donate to SNPC, donate to SDSC. They are the ones that really need the funds to help continue the great progress that we've been doing. So, it's not a government problem. It's not a SNOC problem. It's not an SNPC problem. If the general public really wants to do something, please donate. These are charities and IPCs as well.
Okay, so Mark, let me just follow up with you on one thing. So one of the things about Singapore is, of course, the money they gave, like $1 million for an Olympic gold medal, is huge compared to other countries. I think Australia maybe 37,000, somewhere around there, and other countries give 20,000. So it's like a huge gap. So maybe I'm just wondering. So it's $1 million for a gold medal. It's 200,000, I think, for a Paralympic gold medal. So maybe one thing would be to bring down maybe $1 million should come down and the Paralympics should go up. You think that's a possibility?
I think anything's possible, but
I mean, to make it more equitable. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think the $1 million is there, and it's publicized and published, and really that's something that this generation of athletes that they're striving for on top of their own personal ambitions, right? To do it. I think to just like bring it down, it may not be something which I don't think it'll vibe very well. But I mean, one way is to bring up. Why can't the 200,000 go up? And again, this is not an organizational problem. It's a general public problem, right? So put your money where the mouth is and donate, right?
So I think the money should go up. I mean, that's my personal view. That
100%.
Yeah. So I'm very clear on that. But one of the reasons one of the arguments given by people is that the Olympics is more competitive than the Paralympics. This is why there's a disparity in payment. What would you say to that?
Yes, I've heard that argument over the years, but I think at the end of the day, it's really, other than competitiveness, it's also what you value in an athlete. Like at the end of the day, it's gold medals. Olympics, Paralympics are parallel. But it's also what you value in an athlete, the amount of resilience they have, the training ethics, the grit, and basically everything you've put in to get to the podium, right? I wouldn't say that I put in any less than an Olympic gold medalist or world-class athlete. And I would say that I'm a brilliant athlete. I'm a smart athlete. I work hard. Basically, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I also basically carry a lot of values that I think a world-class athlete should have. So at the end of the day, it is gold medals, and it's seeing whether you value the hard work put into the pursuit of excellence. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that's arrogance at all. I think that is knowing your value.
So Mark, what do you think about this?
Well, I think if you're going to compare, there's no end to comparing. Like why certain sports are more competitive, what kind of skills or attributes are required. Like how do you compare bowling with swimming or fencing with table tennis? You can't. Same for para sports, and I can tell you for a fact, 100%. Athletes like Pin Xiu, athletes like Sophie and Wei Song, they give 110% every time they're at the pool. No different from any other athlete. Right. So if we're talking about there being a gap, maybe there's a gap in terms of remuneration, and that's something that we need to work towards if we want to be a progressive country, right? But there's no gap in terms of effort, time, blood, tears, and sweat put in between the athlete and the athletes that we see at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, Mark, I would agree with you. I mean, I think it's very difficult to compare fields. I think even in the Olympics itself, I mean, could I compare a mixed doubles tennis player with a 100-meter sprinter? I can't. I mean, the fields are absolutely different. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. Yeah,
and just to wrap up this discussion on the financial side of things, you've earned through your hard work and toil over the years 5 gold medals at the Paralympics, and now you've said you intend to open a swim school. Is that where most of what you have earned will go toward?
At the end of the day, of course, whatever I have received, I would also like to give it back to society. So I'll definitely be donating to 2 causes, helping sports to grow in Singapore. And at the end of the day, this swim school idea is also really to help to impart life values and not just the skill of swimming to the younger generation. And I'm excited for that as well. Yeah.
All right, and that's a wrap for our chat. Thank you so much, Pin Xiu and Mark, for taking the time again to speak to us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.